Korean coffee. Korean coffee.
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Hello, greetings, and welcome. Welcome to the Stereo 999 YouTube channel. I'm your host, the artist formerly known as Stereo Steve. And I'm here with my good pal, Mr. Gopher. Say hi, Mr. Gopher.
Hi, Mr. Gopher.
Hey, if you're new here, be sure to watch some of my other videos and like and subscribe and leave a comment and blah, 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 blah.
A few minutes later.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 albums, and these are like the last 7 albums that I listened to last night before I crashed out, and I thought I would talk about those. For the first half of this video. Alright, so what do we got here? This one, you know how I love like weird promotional stuff. Alright, this is from Motown. Exclusive for members of the record industry. And it's to promote Stevie Wonder's Where I'm Coming From and the Temptations' Sky's the Limit. These 2 albums. And it's got one side each of songs from each album. So that's the Stevie Wonder side. And that's the Temptation side. And they matched the labels and everything. But there's a great long version of Smiling Faces sometimes that the Temptations do on this. And the Stevie Wonder side is interesting because it does not include the single If You Really Love Me. It has some other kind of harder, groovier songs off of that album. This is going to create a rift in the space-time continuum because this album bridges the gap between the vinyl community and my own record collecting habits and everything else that I look at on YouTube and the internet. This is gonna create a disturbance in the force. This is Skyscraper by Fex. Fex, of course, being the band from Germany that created the most mysterious song on the internet. Do you know the story of the most mysterious song on the internet? There are over 9,000 videos talking about it, so I don't want to get into detail, but long story short, somebody made a cassette tape of songs recorded off of German radio in the early 80s with all the pause editing, so there's no back announcing and just the music. And as he was digitizing these tapes, there was a song that he could not identify with, like in between Golden Earring and Killing Joke or whatever, there was this song. Kind of groovy, kind of gothy, heavy guitar riff. It took more than 15 years to actually find the artist and the song. It was a demo tape by a German band called Fex, and the song was Subways of Your Mind. And last year, the song and the band were found, and now there's a whole album by these guys. And the question you should be asking yourself right about now is it good? After all that, is it good? And you know what? This album is pretty awesome. I'm thinking if this came out back in the 80s, you know, because I mean back then all they got was like their self-released cassette tape and one song on a compilation. But this album this album fits right up there in between, like, you know, Sisters of Mercy and The Fix and two different versions of Subways on Your Mind. Some other great songs like I Got My Eyes on You and Jenny and Gold Rush and the title track Skyscraper. There's some great guitar playing. This is a good album. And the most mysterious song on the internet, maybe Mystery Solved. And very cool that all the band members were still alive and talking to each other. Alright. This one I kind of discovered through Spotify, and it really started growing on me. This is Laraji. And if you are a Brian Eno fan, you will know that Laraji did an album as part of the ambient series, Laraji's Day of Radiance, which I don't have for some reason. But this is Laraji singing and playing like keyboards and other instruments, maybe some of them homemade, and singing about some very kind of spiritual, maybe new age, but kind of very spiritual stuff. Yeah, but there was this song that kept like popping up on my Spotify called I Can Only Bliss Out for Days. And I'm like, okay, this is right up there with It's So Nice to Get Stoned by Gary Lucas. It's just like a relaxation stoner anthem. So yeah, Laraji, I Can Only Bliss Out for Days. And now for something completely different. A little heaviosity. Budgie. Budgie is the English three-piece band, kind of proto-metal, gone metal, because most of their fans are people who like metal. Big influence on Metallica, especially the first song, Bread Fan. But their records are not easy to find if you're not wanting to part with large amounts of cash. But I was at this record fair and I kind of caved and got this. And I don't know, did I talk about this before? I don't remember if I talked about this before or not. But anyway, yeah, they cram about an hour's worth of music onto one disc on this best of. It's on MCA. But yeah, but it's pretty much most of their 70s stuff. Very cool stuff. Very, very cool, like roots of British metal. But this band is called Holly Rock, and the album is called Legalize Freedom, man.
Yeah, is that Freedom Rock?
Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
And if you remember a band called Electric Peace, this is the guitarist from Electric Peace's side project where he's the front man. And there's I learned about this back in the days when I heard on KOSF his version of Cast Your Fate to the Wind. And there's also like a long live blues jam which has some kick-ass guitar, and then there's some other kind of experimental guitar pieces, and it's just a good rock and roll record. And every time I've tried to buy this at a store, it would be warped. It's almost making me think that the only copy of it in San Francisco is this one warped copy that kept getting traded back and resold, because I think I bought like warped copies of this. It was one of those that was like driving me nuts, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe someone online is selling it, And this is a nice, beautiful copy that I found online. Another one, kind of similar. This band, Country Funk. And every time I would pick up this record and hold it in my hands, it would have some nasty scratch on the second side, which kind of made me think, is this the same scratched up copy just circulating? And someone online had a nice clean copy. And so the band is called Country Funk. This is, kind of mid 70s. I guess if I were to make a comparison, I would say like Buffalo Springfield with more like fuzzy guitar riffs. But if you like Buffalo Springfield, you will fucking love this record. I guess I'll just say that, and you'll get the gist of it. Okay, last but not least, this is a record a friend of mine turned me on to because she used to know this guy, because I guess he lived here in the city. And I got this still in the shrink wrap, and it's appears to be a gatefold, which I'm gonna wait until my friend's in the room with me before I open the gatefold. But this is the jazz piano player George Muribus, and the album is called Brazilian Tapestry. And this is just amazing. And it's kind of schizophrenic because the two sides are very different. So the first side is more like Brazilian flavored jazz fusion with a full band. The second side is piano, bass, and drums, and the music's a little more complex and stretched out. And the way the bass is recorded on this record, it just kind of jumps out of the speakers at you. But yeah, this might have been reissued. I think you can actually hear it on Bandcamp. But George Muribus, Brazilian Tapestry. All right.
cup of tea with me.
Can you imagine listening to your favorite LPs and hearing absolutely no noise or distortion in the background? Compact disc players let you do just that.
Time for Compact Disc Corner. Compact Disc Corner. Compact Disc Corner, yeah. Okay, here we are in Compact Disc Corner. This is the part of the show where I talk about the compact discs in the corner. Basically, it's stuff that I'm uploading to the computer so I can listen to it in the kitchen while I make my breakfast. All right, Radiohead, The Bends. And this was, this is a classic, you know, High and Dry, Fake Plastic Trees, Nice Dream. Maybe one of my favorite Radiohead songs. But this is special because this is the Japanese version with the 2 bonus tracks. Kind of a sought-after collectible in its time. All right. From Time Life. Is it from Time Life? Yeah. From Time Life Music. Sounds of the 70s series, Punk and New Wave. This is kind of a fun collection. It starts out with Pistols, and then it's got Stooges, Ramones, The Jam, Blank Generation, you know, all the hits. It's got Big Star, Thank You Friends, and Dave Edmunds kind of in the middle of it. But Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, Psycho Killer. And it ends with Rocky Erickson doing Two-Headed Dog. Yeah. Elton John, Here and There. And when this came out on vinyl, it was a live album. One side recorded in England, one side recorded in America. And for the CD, you get 2 entire albums. I don't know if it's entire shows, but you get about an hour's worth on each CD of the shows. None of the songs duplicate, so I don't know if they're entire songs or not. But here's the thing, if you are a Beatles fan. Live in New York is the Madison Square Garden concert where John Lennon makes a guest appearance for 2 songs, For Whatever Gets You Through the Night and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. John Lennon joins Sir Elton on stage. And so the second disc of this is that show. So that's, speaking of Beatles, I decided I would re-listen to the anthology series since this is the 30-year anniversary, and there's going to be, like at the end of this year, there's going to be a box set, and there's also going to be an anthology volume 4. So I figured I'd dig out anthology 1 through 3 and listen to them to kind of get in the mood. And this was how a lot of people heard the Beatles in the 90s, you know, and these are, you know, live recordings and demo versions and outtakes and stuff like that, which is interesting because listening to outtake versions of songs from like Revolver and Magical Mystery Tour, and I'm thinking, yeah, a lot of indie bands were listening to these Beatles demos off of these and getting an idea for the kind of minimal lo-fi sound that kind of emerged around that time. Maybe not. I don't know. This is Africa Rising. It's one of those Mojo magazine compilations that came with the issue. They turn up in bargain bins, and this is a compilation of African music. It's got Ali Farka Touré, great guitarist. Tumani Diabate. I don't know if I said that right, but plays the kora. And Mulatu from Ethiopia and the Heliocentrics. So this is a good compilation. This is a compilation of psych music. Cherry Stones and the sympathetic sounds of the psychedelic ghetto. But this is an interesting, because it's got bands from all over the globe. So it's got like Dutch Brainbox, and then it's got garage rock from Dead Moon and George Brigman. It's got McFerrin and the Deviants, Chrome, Nosferatu, it's like a rare krautrock. Pan and Regales from Spain. Just good stuff on this. And this one I might have already talked about, the Easy Tempo Experience. It's remixes of, Easy Tempo were those compilations of Italian movie soundtrack stuff. And these are like remixes. So there's like a drum and bass Mana remix, and no, it's a good remix thing. And the loungy stylings of Combustible Edison, one of their later albums. The first album is the one most people have, but that came out of the 90s lounge music revival. Kanono number 1, play with like homemade instruments like amplified kalimbas. And this is a live album from them. And last but not least, Seasick Steve, because I'm getting kind of seasick here. Seasick Steve, man from another time. Kind of blues guy. David St. Hubbins from Spinal Tap is a big fan of Seasick Steve. I'm starting to feel like nobody's watching me, so leave a comment. I'm starting to feel like nobody's watching me, so like and subscribe. I'm starting to feel like nobody's watching me, so tell your friends. I'm starting to feel like nobody's watching me. Stop. 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 Stop.
That's it, I'm getting out of here.